Hello everyone, this is Korath Landwalker, and it's Free Flight Week in Star Citizen. What do I mean by free flight? Well, let's take a quick... We're going to hop over to the RSI webpage here. And, well, it's pretty self-explanatory right here. Play Star Citizen for free. Basically, up until next Saturday, I think. If you have an account with Star Citizen, you don't have to have pledged for anything. You can play Star Citizen, as long as your computer can handle the specs, of course. Always that. Always make sure that your computer can play a game before you actually put anything into it. Word to the wise. Anyway, when you put in the free flight code, whether you have an account previously or you're just making a new one, you will have available to you all 6 of these starships for the duration of the flight. This applies to anybody who has an account and has already pledged. If you're someone who's completely new, doesn't matter. If you don't have these ships, if you don't have even one of these ships, you can fly them during the free flight. Now, RSI is hawking these as the 6 iconic ships. I don't know if I'd necessarily buy that. But let's take a quick run through these ships. Mustang Alpha, which is a small fighter. It has some cargo capacity, I think, but not much. It's one of the 2 cheapest packages in the game right now. I also feel compelled to mention that once you've signed up for the free flight, you will have made available to you discounted game packages. So, if you find an interest in the game, this is the time to do it. Hey, Legend Eternal, how are you doing today? Hope life is doing well on your side of the monitor. Just going over some of the little details about the free flight event. Is the Mustang Alpha iconic? Well, since it's one of the 2 most cheap packages in the game, yeah, it's got a case. RSI Aurora MR is the other one that has a case. Hey, Fiendy, you know, this is not space yet. You see, we've got a free flight week going right now in the game, which means if you have an account, if you don't have an account, and you want an account, but don't want to put any money into it, and you have a computer capable of playing it, today is the day. Really, all week is the week, but I'm streaming today, so today is the day. And if you sign up for the free flight, you will be able to use any one of these 6 ships. Now, CIG is calling these iconic. Maybe, maybe not. The Mustang Alpha has a case. The Aurora MR has a case because it's the other cheap ship package available. I was told there was going to be space. I'm going to need to speak to your manager. No, not Karen. Don't worry, space is coming. But first, I just want to get some current events nailed down here so that people know you can do this stuff. The Anvil Arrow is a light fighter, which is not a starter ship. And I could almost make a case for it being iconic. It is one of the 2 best light fighters one of the 3 best light fighters in the game. The status among the 3 tends to shift around from patch to patch. Now the 100i, I don't know. If I were to think iconic, I wouldn't be thinking the 100i. It's listed as a starter ship, but it's kind of not. It kind of is and it kind of isn't. But when I call it iconic, I would have pointed to the 300 series Origin ships as being iconic. But I was not consulted. the Miss Prospector, the one-man mining vessel. Cuddy got the shaft. Well, that's not surprising. I talk a lot of trash about Drake, and specifically about the Cutlass. But I feel it does qualify as being iconic. The look, the attitude, I can't see how it didn't make the cut. Likewise, I don't know if I'd call Prospector iconic. It's one of the two mining vessels in the game right now. But the only thing it really brings to the table is unique gameplay. So, I don't know if I would call that iconic, but I guess it kind of comes in just because. Every time you say iconic, I have a Justice Yards flashback. Oh, I can go one better, Fiendy. Whenever I think of iconic, I remember what the folks at Sony Online Entertainment shoveled at us when they put in the NGE when they were talking about, we have these 9 iconic professions. Oh, I wanted to strangle them to death. I wouldn't call the Spectre iconic either. Closer than the 100i, though. Yeah, and to be fair, because it has this relatively unique gameplay, I can understand why they'd make it available for free flight, but iconic is not the word I'd use. And finally, Crusader Industries Mercury Star Runner. It's pretty young as far as the ships go in the game, but I think it's got a case. Certainly it's one of the ships that had a lot of popularity being thrown at it before it landed. And it's still around. You could make a pretty good case for it. But I do think the Cutlass Black or the Freelancer would have been a better choice if they wanted to think truly iconic. I'd go with the Freelancer, but then again, that's because Drake is garbage. I'm a horrible human being. In any case, you want to do the free flight? Follow the steps on this page. In fact, let's see if my handy dandy bot is actually working today. Da, 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 da. There we are. Ha ha ha. If you want to get involved with the free flight, just follow the handy instructions there. You would enlist or sign in. And if you're enlisting, you'd basically be putting in stuff. If you enlist now, you'll have put in your call sign, your email, password, the referral code, where you would hopefully add that wonderful referral code I have listed there. Do a guy solid. You'll get yourself a free Dragonfly if you do. If you pledge afterwards, that is. And just follow those instructions, and you'll get to a point where you have to enter in. I went too far back. Bad me. We'll enter in the free flight code, which is conveniently right here. Get into the verse. Who makes a Dragonfly? Some cheap manufacturer. I can't remember. And why not add the Carrack? I think the Carrack is asking a lot from a new player. Admittedly, you could probably make the same case for the Mercury. Once you enter in the free flight code, those 6 ships will be made available to you, and you'll be able to fly them for the entirety of the free flight week. All right. Now that we've done that, why don't we move ourselves a little bit forward back to, as Fiendy would call it, space. It would give them the wow factor that draws people to the game. Well, you know, there are a lot of things in this game that will give a wow factor. I can guarantee you that. Now, sadly, I had logged in, and I think I had the magical 30K hit when I wasn't looking, because I wasn't at menu the last time I looked here. This is the story of my life. So, maybe I'll get into a server that isn't about to crash for a change. And I am going to be flying one of those iconic ships today. I mean, hey, the 6 are being featured. It would behoove me to feature one of them on my stream today. Hopefully the loading screen will not take too long. Might have idled out. It kicks you to the menu after 15 minutes of no game input. Yeah, it might have done that. I fiddled with things a bit beforehand, but I have been streaming for 10 minutes now, and I don't know if I twiddled with anything 5 minutes prior to stream kickoff, so could be. Oops. Well, that'll teach me to have a long prologue, so to speak. But the good news is, it looks like it wants to get me in soon. I thought it was getting ready. Oh, well, the music's done. There we are. I am presently at Everest Harbor, which, as many people who have been watching this stream could tell you, is my home away from home in Star Citizen. Mainly because this area offers so very much to do. Now, if only the elevators will... There we go. Lobby? I am, as always, the White Knight. Or maybe the Stig. Could go either way with that outfit. Main reason I tend to wear the bright white is because I've found it's a lot easier on ground operations for people to realize I am not an enemy, and therefore do not shoot me in the back of the head. It's possible that I might have targeted this to certain specific individuals who will remain nameless at this time. Okay, actually, before I pick up any ships, I better go to the ship inventory. Or more accurately, the ship equipment, well, vehicle loadout manager. There we go, the technical term. And I am going to be flying today the Miss Prospector. Bet nobody figured that was going to happen. Don't talk about Cap like that. He's not here to defend himself. Yeah, sure, we can go with that. I shouldn't do that. Incidentally, from what I'm told about the free flight ships, they are not being considered rentals. They are being considered regular starships, so you can equip them as you like. But be aware that when the free flight ends, the ships go away, and I cannot vouch for the continued existence of any equipment you may put on them. Word to the wise. My Prospector is not a free flight version. In fact, I didn't do the free flight code at all, because the last time I did that, I somehow managed to evaporate my miscellaneous tab on the Prospector, and therefore I could not actually run the ship, because I had no mining laser. And mining lasers are at the heart of what the Prospector does. Once upon a time, there was only one mining laser to look at. The Helix Thermite Cannon Mining Laser, which has all these wonderful statistics, most of which I couldn't tell you what it did at all. And once upon a time, Helix was the king. It would crack any rock anywhere, except maybe the biggest, toughest rocks. At which point you'd want two. But you don't have two in the Prospector. It's a single player ship. However, I've also been told that the Lancet laser is a pretty potent laser all by itself. And I'm told that a lot of people are considering this the laser to break large rocks these days. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to equip it today anyway. Just as a point of comparison, Lancet is king now. Yeah, that's the impression I've gotten. Now you'll also notice that there's these sub-slots. These will hold consumable items that can impact how the laser operates for a short period of time. As you can see, I have none, because I don't know nearly enough about them to feel comfortable bother slotting them, and I mine rarely enough that it's not worth the abuse to me. I'm going to swap out the propulsion drive. Maybe. Yeah, we'll swap that out for an Atlas drive. Give myself a little bit of oomph to my travel time. I don't feel the need to monkey with the ship systems. And technically speaking, you have weapons. However, what I am going to do is I'm going to yank out some of these weapons, because there is absolutely no way I'm using a distortion weapon. If someone's shooting at me, I don't want to disable them, I want to kill them. That said, if someone is out looking for me and they want to kill me, they will probably succeed. So I'll just throw a couple neutrons on here. No reason, just because. I have no paint job for this shit. Now, the reason I am doing this, the reason I've decided to go with the Prospector today, is because, well, I have a couple reasons, actually. For one thing, I've streamed an awful lot of bounty hunting, ship combat, and even a couple cargo hauling, but I don't really do a lot of mining. So, this is a good reason. Can I equip non-gimbaled size 2s? I think I can. Let me double check the numbers here. Prospector, Prospector. Because I saw the gimbal mounts on here, I just don't know if they're yankable. Yeah, they are yankable. But they're size 1 gimbals, so... Ah, there you go. You can't put in non-gimbal size 2s. Yeah. Because the gimbal mounts are size 1, which means the most you can put on here are size 1s. That'll teach me for trying to answer before actually seeing the stats. Yeah, it sucks a little bit, but let's face it. Prospector is a one-man vessel, primarily for mining. It's not going to win any dogfighting contests. Second reason. One of the changes that was made in 3.14, our Pi patch, is how scanning is done. And it feels to me that mining is a good way to really demonstrate the changes made with the scanning gameplay, because you gotta scan for rocks. So I feel that this is the way to do so. I didn't actually put in a pad, did I? There we go. I used to have a brain. Then I lost it. I lost my marbles. If you should happen to find my marbles, please let me know in chat. It is quite possible you will only find a few of them. Okay, pad 1 rolling up. Prospector, incidentally, is one of 2 mining vessels currently in game. This is the single-player variant. There is also the Argo Mole, which is substantially larger, can handle more ore, has 3 mining lasers operated by turrets. So if you really want to get hardcore in the mining game, you might want to start looking at the Argo. Although if you want to get really, really hardcore about it, the RSI Orion is currently on the roadmap as far as concept art goes. So who knows? We might see the Orion show up maybe in the back half of 2022. Just maybe. Don't know. So here's the Prospector exterior view. Those pods on either side are ore canisters. Someday, in the indeterminate future, they would be detachable, and theoretically they could be cargo hauled to a refinery. But for now, the only way they get to the refinery is the hard way. Now, there's several kinds of mining in the game right now. There's hand mining, where you can use the Greycat multi-tool with the orbit attachment. Yeah, never noticed how freelancer-esque the look of the Spectre is. Well, you know, it makes a certain amount of sense because same company, generally same design. In fact, if you look at the other notable missed ship, the Starfarer, you could see a bit of the freelancer in that as well. It does have VTOL engines, so I can rotate. There we go. As I said, though, hand mining, which used to be a thing you could do in caves. I don't know that anybody actually goes to caves to do that anymore, though.
Please visit again.
But it is a very useful skill to know, especially if you spend a lot of time in prison, because prison is a way for you to get out of Dodge, shall we say. Then you have the vehicle mining, and by vehicle I mean the four-wheeled variety of mining, where you have the Greycat Rock and the Rock DS, where you can go for larger hunks of rock on the planet's surfaces, well, mostly moon surfaces. And then we have spacecraft mining, which can mine much larger rocks both on the surface of moons and in asteroids. Now, the asteroid question is a tricky one because there is an asteroid belt, but trying to figure out where it is exactly kind of gets tricky because it doesn't exactly stay put. You can kind of see the asteroid belt on the map, but when I zoom in and out, yeah, that doesn't really help, does it? But this is the Aaron Halo. And Aaron Halo is full of asteroids. You can find some good stuff there. I used to know the convenient route, except the problem with this convenient route is it puts you too far from a refinery and it causes problems. And I tried to join my server twice, infinite loading screen both times. Yeah, there's been issues with the servers lately, and 30Ks are a bit more frequent. Server crashes are happening more frequently. Not a great thing. The other place I can get asteroids relatively reliably would be the Ring of Yella over here at Crusader. And that's pretty easy to get to. Aaron Halo, a lot trickier because there isn't any points that you can point to that you can quantum jump to. You have to basically jump, watch your distance to somewhere important, and then drop out of quantum travel and hope that you wind up in the middle of the ring. I recommend doing a search for the Ultimate Mining Guide on the web out there. It has decent instructions on how you can get into the Halo, although I'm not 100% sold on it. And there's a reason for that. I'll get into that a little later. For now, we're going to... Oops, not there. Might be able to mine there, but I'm not 100% sure. For now, we're just going to go to the moon of Ariel. and hopefully we will be able to find something interesting there. Now, unfortunately, the radar on the Prospector is garbage, and it has to do with the fact that it's kind of upside down. So the little green line doesn't really give you the right indicator as to which way you want to point your ship. If we could figure out the drop distance of the route from Crusader to AL3, that would put us close to a refinery. Yeah, that's something that would probably require a lot of experimentation and work, and not to put too fine a point on it, I'm too damn lazy to put that much effort into the mining thing, especially for as little as I bother doing the mining thing. Now, unfortunately, it looks like every quantum travel location right now is presently on the night side of the planet, and I really don't want to bother going on the night side of the planet. So we are going to kick up our speed. Maybe I should use my capacitors. For those who missed the last week's stream, capacitor gameplay, yeah, Legend's right there with me on that one, allows me to put my power into my engines, and that will help the time and recharge of my afterburner boost. Although for this ship, that's probably not asking for much, but oh wow, look at how quick that recharges. I can bounce up and down this capacitor all week. There is a kind of a recharge time with that. You see the little circle that's kind of zipping right next to the number that's going up and down on the left? So there is a cooldown period involved. But it's not bad, and man, it bounces back quick. Now, the downside of all this is I've yet to hit what I would consider the atmosphere of Ariel. And the atmosphere of Ariel is pretty thin. I never noticed that little circle. Yeah, well, the keyboard really beat you up on that one, didn't it? But no shame. I've done far worse. Thing is, once I get to the right level of atmosphere, I am not going to have a whole lot of room to slow down. And I'm currently moving at 1 kilometer per second, which means I had better react really quickly if I don't want to end up a pancake on Ariel's surface. And it also now occurs to me that with all the changes they've made with combat models and all that, I may not be able to maneuver myself quickly enough to pull up once I get into the atmosphere. Or, to put it a different way, I may have chosen poorly. Nevertheless, okay, we've got... Oh, what just happened here? I just lost my hitting my shift key caused a sticky key thing to show up on my computer there and kicked me out of Star Citizen briefly. I'm going to turn my VTOLs on now to help try to arrest the sudden horrible death that's coming my way. Ah, here we go. We're leveling off now. Sudden horrible death is no longer impending. Drop my speed down. For a little over 4.5 kilometers and dropping. Now, in some ways, it's easier to do the mining in the asteroid belts because you don't have to worry about fighting gravity or atmospheric conditions. What can I say? I do it the hard way. Okay, let's level off a bit and kind of strafe down a bit. And it seems that there is a rock already over here. Once you're within a relatively close range, you have no trouble detecting rocks. I think maybe, I don't know, 6 kilometers? 5 kilometers maybe. where you see a symbol, and then 4.5 when you get the actual rocky look. But if you want to get further out, what you want to do is do a ping. It used to be that hitting the tab key on your keyboard would put you into a it would put you into a scanning mode, but now all it does is ping. And it's a 360-degree ping, and anything that it detects will show up as a big box-like structure. None of which, apparently, are showing up in my immediate vicinity. The story of my life. But now there is a new special scanning mode. And it's keyed to the V key on my keyboard. Mileage may vary depending on what kind of controller you're using. And this scanner is a lot more impressive than it used to be. You can scan ships. You can scan space stations. And as we're about to see, we can scan the rocks. Now, to be fair, we were able to scan the rocks before, but let's see what kind of detail we get. I'm going to left click to activate the scanner. Well, it's doing a good job on making me look like an idiot. Scan. I said scan, darn it. Well, it's possible that the scanner is bugged. That figures, right? Let's get a little closer. There we go, now we're scanning. And you can see on the right-hand side, we're having all sorts of inventory information here. Got a mass of a little under 3,000. We have values for optimal and overcharge and power transfer resistance. You made it by going into a random server, but you had to redo your character appearance. But it didn't reset your certifications, which is awesome, Legend. God knows, those soft resets have been murder on me. Now, what it's telling me about this rock further on the right-hand side says carrying. It's not actually carrying, it's telling you the composition of the rock, which has tungsten ore, quartz, and bexolite. Those percentages are really messed up, though. They should kind of come up to a sum of 100%. Clearly, the people who designed these scanners failed math. Let's see if I can scan the other one. No, I don't seem to have a good line on it. So we'll exit the scan mode. Numbers are hard. You ain't kidding. I'm gonna crank out the mining laser. And we're gonna get a little closer to the rock here. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna do one more thing too before we start carving into it. Doesn't really look all that impressive, does it? I mean, let's take a look at it. But you know what? If you really want to understand how impressive it really is, you want to go outside and stand next to it. And that is exactly what I'm going to do. There's too many numbers. Too many of them and stuff. Take a quick step outside. And we'll go to third-person view. And we'll pull out, not that direction. Rock looks a little bit more impressive this way, doesn't it? Just kind of gives you an idea of just how different things look when you're in the cockpit of your ship. And when you're standing out right next to it. It looks it doesn't look tiny when you're in your cockpit, but it doesn't exactly look massive like this thing does. I mean, This thing's as big as a house. That is a big rock. It's just a pebble. Well, in the great scheme of things, it really is as far as the size of rocks go. I've seen rocks with mass of 8,000, which is a lot more impressive. This one's like only 4 or 5, I think it was. You'll also notice the environment's a little hostile out here, so it's good to be back in the ship. Okay, we'll get back in the chair, and we are going to start cracking open that rock. Even though this rock's value is rather bad. I mean, we are looking here at 30% tungsten. Now, the numbers on the mining interface are a lot more trustworthy. 30% tungsten, 3% quartz, 2.5% bexelite, and 64% inert material. And what inert material mean is, it's worthless. So there's only like 35% of this rock that's actually worth having. And to be fair, even that's iffy. Just got in the game and pulled the glaive, and your power settings are where you left them a couple nights ago. Yeah, some of those power settings are pretty persistent these days. I mean, or are you talking about the power triangle? That one would be news. But I find that when I go into a ship that I've turned the engines off but left the power on, if I were to go back to the ship after a couple days, I'd pull it out of storage and the power would still be on. Power triangle. Okay, that is a little more impressive. Now, I will tell you something, though. I did an experiment a couple weeks back with the Mercury and its weapon racks. My guns did not persist in the weapon racks. I was mildly annoyed, but only mildly because I wasn't using any good weapons anyway. Okay, mining mode. There are 2 types of mining modes. You've got the mining mode itself, and you've got the extraction. Extraction can only be done to relatively small rocks. And the only way you get those small rocks is if you break open the big rocks via the mining mode. On the left-hand arc, you'll see we have a little thing there that says laser intensity that I can go from 0 to 100% of intensity. On the right-hand side, you'll see a charge level. That's associated with the amount of charge the rock is absorbing. When it gets to the green area over here, you want to keep it in that green area, and when the bar fills up, the rock will split. But if you overcharge it and the red bar fills up, you will violently explode the rock, and that will have all kinds of unwelcome consequences. It'll get rid of some of the good stuff, almost inevitably. It'll also possibly propel some of that rock through your ship at high velocity. This would be a bad thing. Now, it's worth noting over the left here, we have information about my mining laser. It gives me the range of my laser, which means I could cut this thing from, well, I'm about 150 meters out. I'm currently at 10 meters out. You'll see that the effective range is good. It's in the green. So I should have maximum effect working this. So the charge level is going up. I'm only at like 48% intensity right now, and it's kind of crawling up. We want it to go a little faster, so I'm going to crank up the intensity. Okay, there we go. Now once it gets to the green, things start getting interesting. You'll see on the right hand side there is a detail called instability and resistance. Resistance indicates how hard it is to get to the optimal zone, and instability indicates how consistently the charge is going to increase. If there's a high instability, and that means it could jump all over the place when you're charging this thing. You can get yourself into the overcharged or the undercharged area very, very easily. This rock is a pretty cooperative rock. And the type of laser you're doing will impact how you deal with these statistics. Alright, so we've had a pretty good split. Unfortunately, it hasn't budged the rock very much because, well, they're basically sitting in the same position as they were. But each of these rock sections are going to have their own set of statistics now. So I want to get the ones that are, you know, useful. This one, for example. This one is almost all inert material, 88% inert material. Frankly, that sucks. So I don't want to do that one. Likewise, this one over here, well, this one at least has something decent. It's got 21% tungsten, which isn't great, and 6% of the bexolite, which is better. Let's move ourselves a little bit, see if we can get a different skin on the lower rock down here. I don't think I actually got any difference there. Don't tell me this thing only broke into 2 pieces. Okay, this upper piece. What does this have to say? God, just pause and let it scan. Tungsten, quartz, and inert materials, although it does have a lesser quantity of inert materials. And finally, this piece over here. 5% bexolite. So we've got a pretty decent idea of what the various rock pieces are right now, so we're going to start with this one. Ordinarily, this would all suck and I'd move on, but my luck with finding decent rocks is awful. Now again, I'm going to increase the charge, but I will not have to do as much charge because it's a smaller mass now. And that means I have to pay a little more attention to when it gets to optimal because it will be much easier to accidentally overcharge. Now see the green filling in. When it's all filled up, this part of the rock will split as well. And once it splits, it should be in the size that I can start taking the ore and putting them into my ore pods. May all my guesses be right. And there we go. And wow, that popped that sucker right off. Now this piece... Scanning. This one is 98% inert material. I don't want this rock. I would basically be filling my ore tank with garbage. You know, stuff they could use to build Drake starships. Don't want to do that. So let's look at the next one. 100% inert material. Oh, that one's even worse. Let's check this one. Okay, this one at least has roughly half inert, half decent. So we're going to swap our mining mode to extraction mode. And we're basically just going to hoover that sucker in until it's gone. And you'll see on the right-hand side, my cargo section here is filled up a little bit and tells me what I have in there in terms of standard cargo units. Now, what just popped over there? Is that one of the decent ones? That was one of the decent ones. So we're going to go over there and zap that with the mining laser. Swap back to the mining laser mode. Close enough. And carve in. Now, while that's filling up, I want to bring your attention to this little area over here that says Volatile Cargo. For most rocks you mine, you will never have to worry about that. But the chances exist that you may come upon a rock that is made out of an ore called quantanium. Quantanium is a volatile ore that will basically start degrading the moment you put it in your cargo box. Simply put, if you take too long to deliver them to the refinery, that cargo will explode. And since it's in your cargo pods, it stands a good chance of exploding your ship. And if you happen to be on board your ship, it has a good chance of exploding you. So when you see that light blinking with your volatile cargo, One thing you may want to seriously consider is not being in it. Okay, this is mostly tungsten, but you know what? I can at least sell the tungsten. There's almost no inert material, so I'll get something out of it. Won't be much, but you know, this is basically the let's see how you do this kind of run. 100% tungsten. Sure, we'll grab that too. Over here, we have another deposit. And this one is mostly garbage. We're going to leave that one alone. One of the remaining 2 chunks has to have the Bexelite I want. The Bexelite's one of the relatively better ones. We'll hold off on that until I finish up with this one. I want to know about the Bexelite. Okay, something is wrong here. One of these guys had Bexelite in it. I couldn't have been that far gone, could I? Don't answer that. Well, I'll just grab this then. I could have sworn one of these had Bexelite. That was the whole point of doing this. But either my scanners are hosing me, which I'm not going to rule out, or I misread, which is certainly possible. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to leave the rest of this rock alone, and we're going to go to that one that's about 800 meters that way. I'm going to turn off the mining mode to bring back the standard shipping, and I'm going to do a ping here to see if I can locate any other deposits that are nearby. Ah, there we go. Over here to the left, you can see there's something that's about 5,000 meters and it's a little higher up than I would have expected. I almost suspected that being a ship. Seems unlikely, but possible. Alright, let's do a quick scan of this thing. We're going to use scanner mode for this, just for the giggles. Okay, we are looking at Terranite of about, well, again, those percentages are absolutely rotten. Someday they will fix those numbers, and then the scanning mode will be reasonable for that sort of thing. But if you want to know what percentages you have, mining mode is the way to go. And mining mode is giving us something a little bit better. 9% Terranite. You know, that is actually worth going into. 57% quartz, 11% beryl, 3% copper, and 18% inert materials. As far as rocks go, there are worse ones to be dealing with. I mean, it's not great. I mean, copper, beryl, and quartz aren't exactly what you would call real money makers. But it has less than 20% inert material, which is completely worthless. I will take the... I'm not really fond of low value ores, but I like them a lot better than I like the no value material. The mass on this thing is about a little over 3,500. It doesn't exactly tell you what unit of measure we're looking at here. I'm assuming it's kilogram, but you know, for all I know, it could be kiloton. In fact, kiloton it's probably more realistic, since, you know, it's a freaking big rock. Now, proximity to the rate laser does sometimes help. The closer you are, sometimes it helps. Which is one of the reasons why I'm kind of creeping my way a little closer to it. And now I'm at 100% on my laser intensity. Don't panic. And you can see the rock beginning to smoke. We're in optimal. I'm going to bring the power down a bit so I don't accidentally, you know, overcharge and explode it. Like I said, if you overcharge it and if that red bar fills like the green bar is now, that's a bad thing. Bad as in, oh god, what have I done with my life kind of thing. Alright. Let's see if we can find ourselves some Terranite chunks. 99% quartz. Well, I don't want that. I mean, hey, it's nice that it doesn't have a whole lot in the way of inert material, but I don't want quartz. I want the good stuff. And this one, still doesn't have the good stuff. Still checking. What about this guy down here? Surely this has what I want, which would be typical. No, that one doesn't have it either. How about this guy all the way on the right-hand side? Surely this has the Terranite chunk. It does, and it's 78%. I am liking this chunk of rock. Let's zap it. Yes, that's the technical term. Let's zap it. However, you'll notice that the optimal range on this is really narrow. In other words, pay attention. It will be far too easy to overcharge this, especially for as long a period of time as I need to have it in optimal. So I am literally bouncing back and forth with the laser intensity, trying to keep it from going too high and trying to keep it from going too low. Cracking rocks is as much art as it is science. Alright, let's look at the low one first. "99% Terranite." I like that. Let's pull that in. Next rocky chunk. 100% Terranite. I like that one too. Nice break. Yeah, I know it. This one's working out pretty well. How about you over here? More 100% Terranite. Oh, this road. I should see this kind of break all the time. Scanning seems to be having issues. Another 100% Terranite rock. So we're definitely taking a good chunk of the high-end mineral on this one. And finally, this one's 92% quartz, 7% Terranite. Well, let's leave it be. I got pretty much most of what I wanted on that one. So we are going to turn off the mining mode. We're going to do a ping to find out. There we go. I'm pointing in the right direction too. We're going to head down to that 5.5 kilometer distance, where we will hopefully find something interesting. Now, if it shapes itself like a rock, then we're in good shape, because that's something I can mine. And it looks like that is. If it shapes itself into something that looked more like a diamond, then that would indicate there's a vehicle mining sort of thing, and I would not be able to harvest it. Now, strangely, it says there's another one that's 5 kilometers away from here, so we have our next target once we determine whether or not this particular rock has anything worth mining. Slow down, don't want to overshoot. I'm overshooting, stop. Oh, it looks like we have a number of rocks in that direction. Alright, let's lower ourselves down. I'm kind of angling myself so I'm kind of pointed to that other grouping, because I don't want to lose track of those. Scanning mode. Let's see what this rock has to say. Is there any material in here that's worth going after? Quartz, Terranite, and beryl. Well, it's worth looking at, so we'll go into mining mode and see what the actual number breakdown is. Oh, God, no. Just no. 63% inert material, 1% Terranite, and 32% no. Just no. we're going to go see what this group of 4 rocks have to say. I mean, no. Just no. I'm going to look at this one all the way by itself first. Maybe the one by itself will be something useful and valuable. Of course, for all I know, those rocks are no, they're too far apart. I couldn't have accidentally already seen them. Scan mode active. Scanning beginning. Show me what you've got. More Terranite, tungsten, titanium. These are not bad metals. I mean, not great except for the Terranite, but not bad. Ugh. 3% Terranite, 78% inert. I don't know. Tell you what, we're going to check these other 3 out first. If they have something better, I'm going to leave this alone. I may come back there just for the titanium. I thought it said titanium, but that's my cargo. Scan mode on. What you got? Tungsten, copper, Terranite. Terranite seems to be the big winner in this region. I'm seeing Terranite showing up an awful lot. Ugh, that one's ugh. And finally, we have the one all the way at the far side there. Okay, that has Terranite, so let's see what the actual numbers come out as. 3% Terranite, 10% titanium. No. Over here, the close sky. Come on, give me my scan. You were giving me information nicely a minute ago. There we go. Why is this not giving me information? It's awful hard to crack open a rock if you know nothing about it. Come on, guys. I had a scan board on this earlier. You should be able to tell me everything I need to know. Let's do a rescan. Three percent Terranite, 14% copper. That's nothing to write home about either. Wonder if I have to scan before I do the mining mode now. It's not great news, but this one has 2%. Yeah, the rock we had back there, I think that one's better than any one of these 3. So we're going to go ahead and crack that one open. I want to be at least within 150 meters, because again, that's the distance that my laser actually will operate. And you can see that it's red in my current range. Now the effective range is filling up on the left-hand side. And once it fills to green, yeah, right now it's sufficient, but I want to be optimal. And I am optimal, alright. Right up next to it. Time to crack open a rock. Has a nice big range of optimal cracking. I approve. The charge level, on the other hand, is not cooperating. I don't approve of that. Like, at all. Now, the reason for this, you may have noticed On the right-hand side, we have a mass of 8,000. 8,000. It's possible that this might be a little too big for me to crack. In fact, it doesn't look like I'm even warming up the surface. I am putting my laser practically right up against this rock. And it is basically just laughing at me. Closer, kiss it! I am practically putting the laser in the rock right now. And it is not even scratched. This rock does not want to be mined out. So it is with regret that we will have to move on. Why is my laser still operating if my mining mode is off? There we go. Sometimes you gotta kick the tires. So let us continue to travel the surface of Ariel. Looking for pings that are mostly in front of me at this point. Oh, there's one. There's a few. I'm liking this. Now, see that gemstone that just appeared there? That would be available for vehicle mining. That's the one at the bottom of the screen there that's behind me now. Oops. Don't want to get too far ahead. I want to be able to see the rocks I can cut through. Well, we have another 3 plus 1 by itself again. If I didn't know better, I'd say that I'd gone in a circle. I know better. I'm not that bad a pilot. Slow down! Slow down! Ah, bouncing! That's not the way I meant to slow down. Okay, let's take a look at this rock, shall we? Scan mode on. Oh, some mass I can work with. Hephaestonite. That's not a bad one, I don't think. It's only 2% though. I don't know if 2% is really worth the effort going through. Then we have these two here. Now, if you plan to make a living doing the mining thing, you will likely be a lot more choosy than I am. Okay, it looks like this will scan for me without doing the scanner. Okay, Bexelite and Hephaestonite. You know what? This one's actually worth trying for. So let's reposition a little bit and kick on the laser. It's only 5,000 mass, so I feel like I should be able to cut through this. We'll find out quickly enough. Oh, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. I thought I would be able to cut through a 5,000 at least. Okay, it's going up. It's kind of going up, but it's a really slow process. Oh, this one's going to be painful. It'll be a lot easier once this thing splits open, but getting there is going to be rough. And it's got a 0.71 instability too, which means things could get really entertaining once we get to optimal. You can do it. You can do it. And this is a good demonstration of why people use moles and multiplayers, so that you can have multiple lasers on the same rock and crack it a lot easier. That said, the multiplayer mole does have its weak points, like the occasional tendency of its turrets to throw people out of them. And we're not even going to talk about the homicidal tendencies of its elevator. Even solo, the mole has more powerful lasers. That's true, because it can actually handle a size larger laser than the Prospector can. So, as some people may disagree, but in this case, size does matter. Okay, we are creeping up to the optimal range. And that's when I have to start paying attention, because I don't trust that instability number. We can start seeing all kinds of entertaining things happen with my charge once I get to the green. Keeping it in the green is going to be potentially very, very challenging. X-Light and Basanite are the ones I want. Can I get them in decent chunks? We'll find out very soon. We are in optimal range. The green bar is filling. So far, I don't need to adjust the laser, but I might have to do it fairly soon. We're getting a little higher up there than I particularly want to be. But I might be able to get to the end of the line without problems. There we go. Let's back up a little bit so, big rocks don't land on me, personally. Okay, let's take a look at our chunks and see if there's anything entertaining in them. This one has 5% Basanite, 94% inert. Well, we'll try to crack it open, and we'll hope that the Basanite goes my way. I'm not horribly optimistic. Now you'll see the charge here went a lot faster to the optimal point, and I've got a much larger range of optimal to play with. This is the kind of thing you can expect when you split huge rocks into much smaller chunks. Life gets easier. The question of better remains to be seen. Alright, what's this bigger chunk? Hopefully it's all inert. Ugh, it's got a mix of Hephaestonite and mostly inert. I have a sneaking feeling that I am not going to bother extracting any of that ore. Yeah, I don't think that one's worth it. Let's move on to the next big chunk over here. A 100% Bexelite. I like that chunk. And that's when I have to split open, which means I am going to get 610 mass worth of Bexelite. And now we're in the optimal range. It's a very narrow band again. Hi, Too Easy. Thank you for the follow. And yes, I am indeed on... No, actually, no, I'm not. I'm not a game artist. I'm an aerial right now. I happened to be at Everest Harbor when I started out, so I hopped over here to aerial to do a little bit of mining to demonstrate one of the quote-unquote iconic 6 starships selected by CIG for their free flight. And this rock is this part of the rock is a nice 100% vexillite, which means extracting it is going to be nothing but good. Mining's not something that I do very often. And I thought it'd be interesting to see how the changes in the scanning gameplay impacted it, which is... let's call it interesting and leave it at that. Let's see. Let's get this one. And still having trouble figuring out the new scan with the scanning the rocks. Well, you're really not alone in that. And it's even crazier than that because the numbers are incredibly wacky. And I will show you what I mean in a moment. Oh, I still have another Vexillite rock here to hoover in? I do. That might be all Vexillite. If I look at this chunk of rock here with my mining laser scanner, on the right-hand side, 544 mass, 13% quartz, and 86% inert material. Yeah, that's exactly it, Too Easy. If I go into scanning and I look at it like that, that is exactly what I'll see. 1000% quartz, which is completely wrong. So when it comes to figuring out how exactly the percentages break down, do not trust the ship scanners. Yes, it is probably a bug. In fact, I'll go a step further. It is definitely a bug. Either that or the folks at CIG have no idea what math is. And I respect them a little bit too much for that. If you want the values, the mining mode will give you the proper values. This rock has 10 times as much of the stuff as it has. Yes, it can carry so much, but it actually is more. Now, there was also hephaestonite on this big rock, but I have a sneaking feeling that it's not going to break down nearly as well. 6% on that. I am not optimistic. What's this one over here? 2%. That's even worse. That one's 100% inert material, so I want nothing to do with that one. And what about this one all the way down under here? .65% vexillite. Yeah, we'll give it a shot. It's going to be a little challenging because it's kind of in the middle. Have I mined in the belt before? Yes, but not recently. I've done the asteroid mining thing, both in the Ring of Yella and in the Air and Halo. Air and Halo is a little challenging to get to sometimes because, you know, it doesn't have any quantum markers to play with, so you have to cut it off traveling between 2 points and hope that you land in the right spot. The Ultimate Mining Guide has some great information about that. Just do a Google on that, and it has all sorts of useful info. Yeah, 46 Quantanium from a Halo before. I can believe that with no problem whatsoever. If you're looking for Quantanium, the Halo is probably the best place for it. However, the problem with the Halo, at least for me, is when I've done the Halo, my distance between where I find the rock and the nearest refinery has been, shall we say, not exactly close by. Yeah, that's exactly it, Too Easy. That is exactly what happened to me. Go to the Halo, pick up the Quantanium, run for the station. Boom! Although I think the last time I had that happen, I at least, oops, haven't been paying attention. That's a full way. That was overcharging. Overcharging a rock is bad. But hopefully, oh, that ain't good. Settle down. Kumbaya. Kumbaya. I'm basically letting it get... It's very narrow, too. That's getting... Yeah, I'm getting back and forth on my scan here. That's not working out so well. Easy, break the rock up completely, including sub-pieces, and suck up the quantanium. Don't take any quant in until the rock is completely broken up. Should have enough time to get it sucked up and get to the refinery. Ball Legend, sometimes that works out and sometimes it don't. Alright, let's try again. Now that this thing's... I thought the thing had settled down, but now I'm having trouble getting a scan on this thing. Okay, the overcharge seems to have settled down, so we're going to try to crack this thing open again. You really don't want to crack it open when the overcharge is filled, because stuff is lost. Let's see, that being said, we do need to find a new route to the Halo. Suspect that Crusader AL3 is the way it's best to keep close to a refinery. Something to experiment on at some point. That's what mad science is all about. I'm in the optimal range, and now I'm going to try to pay attention to the optimal so I don't explode this rock, because that would look really bad. Not to mention I would lose that Vexilite, which I really, really want to get a hold of. No, don't go out of optimal. Keep an optimal. Oh, now it just jumped up. Don't want to do that either. Like I said, as much art is science. Got it. Yeah, the reason I blew up the first time was because it was my first time mining quantanium, and my friend purposely didn't tell me what volatile meant. Boy, friends like that. 100% of that Vexilite. But it doesn't seem to be collecting. There we go. Next one. Come on, more Vexilite. 30% Vexilite. Maybe. Depends on where these other guys are. Given the choice, I want the Vexilite. 100% Vexilite. Good example of the choice I want. And that got hoovered in pretty quickly. What about this one directly below me? Come on, Vexilite. No, inert materials and 2% in Basanite. I don't think so. Hello, scanner. Scanner does seem to be a little finicky today. Either that or we have a 30k incoming. Oh, please don't let it be a 30k incoming. Well, let's... Oh, that's inert. I don't like the look of this. B-Win is looking dangerous, but not there yet. So, you know, in the interests of being overcautious, let's grab this and head to the nearest refinery. Oh, there we go. It had some Vexilite, it had some Basanite. I'm now 30 out of 32 standard cargo units of cargo here. I think that is enough for me to be willing to leave Ariel and start heading to a refinery. Refineries are important because that is where you deposit your rocks. So we're going to kick things up a notch. I am at her L2, so the best place is either her L1 or her L2 to go for refining. We are out of atmosphere. All I gotta do is, there we go. Try to find the little triangle on my heads-up display there so that I can point in the correct direction. And quantum travel to that particular Lagrange point. Oh yeah, landing gear. I forget that sometimes. Now I did put a different quantum drive in here, so it hopefully will get me there relatively quickly. I didn't necessarily put the best quantum drive on there, but it'll get me there. Phoenix Rising, thank you for the follow. I hope you've been enjoying the stream so far. We've got the free flight going right now. I'm running on one of the free flight ships, the Prospector. Have I mined on Calliope? Well, I want to say that I might have gone there at one point. I don't. If I did, it wasn't significant enough for me to remember vividly. Joined Freefly the first day. Got about 8 hours in so far. How are you enjoying Star Citizen, Phoenix? Yeah, Calliope didn't really leave a great impression, a massive impression on me as far as mining goes. I like Calliope as a moon, but mining is not my strong point. So I really don't have strong opinions on it one way or the other. It's very windy. It has a lot of big rocks, a lot of Bexalite. It's a lot, to be honest, but I like having problems to solve and figure out. There is an awful lot to Star Citizen. And, even in its current state, even being an alpha, being in active development, it's still like nothing else, really. At least in my opinion. I mean, Elite Dangerous might come close, which I've not played, so I can't really say anything about that. But Star Citizen feels like it's the full experience. I mean, got the old Prospector flying out here. Lots of different ships, fighters and miners and cargo haulers. You do play Elite Dangerous. Yeah, Star Citizen, yeah, has more than Elite Dangerous, and I think Elite Dangerous kind of focused heavily on the starfighter combat, whereas Star Citizen, starfighter combat is a major aspect, but not the entirety of what it's trying to achieve. Unfortunately, it still has more bugs than the Starship Troopers movie, as witnessed by the fact that I can't get my communications MFD to work. So I'm going to go into my Moby Glass and pull up my communications. And hopefully they will give me a landing pad. Yeah, great analogy. Yeah, I fall back on that quote an awful lot. It never stops being true. And, well, like I keep saying, it's an alpha product. It's in current development. Bugs are not their priority. Developing game systems are the priority. Which means a lot of the things that you think would be insane in other games makes sense here. Even if it's a bit of a headache. The thing that bothers me the most, and it's not a consistent bothering either, it's the server crashes. You may have already experienced your 30K, your first 30K sometime during this free flight, where the server just basically gives you an error code of 30,000 and something. Those tend to be your server crashes. They're a pain, especially if you're doing cargo hauling or something like that, because if you happen to be somewhere other than a station or planet, or landing zone, I mean, you lose your cargo. And that stinks. Now, once you've landed, all is well in the universe again, because it'll remember you're there, it'll remember your cargo. But if you happen to be, say, in the middle of a mining trip, or if you're in transit, bam, it's gone. There are people who've had large hauls of materials
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
Who have howled in frustration with their millions of credits of cargo turned into cloud vapor. I've been one of them occasionally. well, I usually don't get the millions parts, but I've done cargo hauling, and I have experienced the joy of having all my cargo go poof, thanks to the server crash. Some days, servers are better than others, so... But you can be sure that sooner or later, if you do the game long enough, you will experience the magic of the server crash. Yeah, definitely liking mining more. Mining, I think, is the second most lucrative profession in the game at the moment. And I think that's because of the hit-and-miss nature. Yeah, it does have a lot less risk. I mean, sure, it's possible that a pirate might find you, but especially if you're mining in the Halo, it's not too likely. And Quantanium risks, that's the biggest risk there, really. It's not horrific. Risk is in 30Ks. Well, that's also true, and that's exactly it. You don't have to spend money to make the money. When you're doing cargo runs, you go to a trade terminal, you invest your money into cargo, you take it somewhere, you sell it at a location where you get money back, which is hopefully more money than you put in. But you have that risk of the 30K where, yes, if you got 200K cargo, it's a lot worse than 200K mined for, because the only thing you lose when you're mining is time. Now, at this point, if I were carrying Quantanium, the next thing I would do would be to go into here and store the ship, because, as I understand it, that turns off the ticking clock. And the last thing you want is the ticking clock. Okay. One day, they will actually make pizza here. I live for that day. They've got the drinks, you can buy burgers and hot dogs and stuff like that, but for some reason they have yet to do the pizza. I demand my pizza. Unfortunately, my opinion doesn't count for much there, so we'll just keep on moving on. Now, over here we have the Interstate Transit system, and that is how we're going to get to the Refinery Deck. Bounty hunting is risk-free. Well, it's not risk-free if you get blown up, is it? That said, the AI opponents are a lot easier than the player opponents. Ramen, yes. And yeah, you grind into the ERTs and then it reset. There's been a lot of those little character resets that host certifications in 3.14. And that's been rough. And getting back to you, Phoenix, yeah, having the exploration aspect of the game doesn't really have too much in the way of a mechanical exploration benefit, but seeing all this stuff in the game, that's exploration in its purest. Have you had a chance to stop by the habitable zone of Microtech? Because that's a very, very beautiful area. And when I say habitable, I mean not freezing to death instantly habitable. Just got to Microtech and 30K. Yeah, I know how that feels. Here we go, the refining deck. And certification resets are fixed now, you think. Yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out. There's only one way we find out for certain, and that's by, doing the recertifications and seeing what happens. Started at Microtech, but didn't explore much other than fighting the spaceport. Yeah, if you go around the equator in Microtech, there are some very nice environments to look over. And there's even a couple bits of vegetation we can actually interact with and pull out the heart of the woods, I think it is, which is interesting. Also love not having a mini-map. Yeah, I like that to an extent, but what I hate is the fact that ground vehicles, don't have compasses yet. That makes it very difficult to do any basic navigation. Legend just bugged with the infinite load screen and appearance reset, and it didn't lose certification, so hopefully that's a good sign. Now, you'll see that we have two sets of terminals in this area. We've got the ore sales, and this is where you can go and pick your location, which will theoretically be your prospector. Maybe. There we go. And you can sell the ore directly to the refinery. And this would get me 45,000. But come on now. Why would you settle for that when you can go ahead and have the ore refined? And this is where things get a little more interesting. We're going to start up a work order here. And I'll select my material location, which is the Prospector. And it should be showing me momentarily. Oh, set up work order. Duh. Like I said, I don't do a whole lot of mining. And I have the choice here to determine what I want to refine. I only got 1 unit of phase tonight. Well, that's mildly painful, but whatever. Up here, you'll see there's specializations of skill. It looks like Quantanium would not be netting me as much, nor would Quartz. But I do okay on some of the other stuff. None of which I actually have in my Prospector. So basically, it's a wash as far as my materials are concerned. And then you have these methods of processing. And there's like, what is it? You got a bunch of methods here. This method, for example, is high speed, moderate cost, low yield. Which means if I were to refine on this, and I'm going to switch all these to yes, because I want it all. And if I get a quote on this, you'll see that I'm going to lose some of my yield for tungsten on everything. I'll lose all the hephaesonite entirely, which, hey, it's 1 unit. That was asking a lot. But it's also a moderate cost. It'll cost me 4,500 UEC, and it'll take half an hour to do. So if you're into the quick and dirty, not bad. High speed, moderate cost, low yield. Pyrometric, low speed, high cost, and high yield. I can't imagine why anybody would choose this one. I mean, seriously. High cost, okay, let me rephrase that. It doesn't have a high yield. So high cost and high yield, but slow. That is a good reason, actually. This would cost me 13,000. But I would get most of what I did in here. Moving on, Gaskin, high speed, high cost, moderate yield. So expensive, fast, moderate. And as you choose all these things, you can see get the quotes. You can see how much it costs. You can see how much you'll get. XERs, high speed, high cost, low yield. So this one would be done in 16 minutes, but again, you lose a significant chunk. Baron, low speed, high yield, moderate cost. I took too long. I gotta get back here now. Why you make things difficult for me? Okay, back to the Prospector. It's up the order. We were up to Farron, I think. No. Low speed, moderate cost, high yield. You were. Clickety, 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 clickety. You'll notice that the inert materials don't even bother telling you if you want to refine them. You can't refine inert materials. 8 hours for this one. High yield, moderate cost, low speed. Electro is literally the middle of the road here. 2 hours, moderate loss, moderate cost. Very low speed, low cost, but high yield. This one will take a day and 2 hours. But you preserve a good chunk of what you're doing. Low speed, low cost, moderate yield. If you're cheap, that might be a way to go. You know if the claim bug for 3 out of 14 is fixed. Still can't pull out the Cutlass Blue. Yeah, they said they'd fixed it. I don't know that as a fact too easy. Have you been able to... Yeah, Legend seems to have an idea what's going on. Because I think he figured out a workaround. Moderate, low, and low.
We will have to return your ship to storage.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for that one that was long time high yield. Here we go. because I don't mind spending a day and a couple
Initiating
hours.
ship storage procedure.
So we will
For your
confirm that
safety,
order,
please vacate the area.
and theoretically, I should see something appearing on here showing me that the order is being worked on.
Initiating ship storage procedure. For your safety, please vacate the area. Thank you.
Show me my work order. Yeah, here we go. And you can see the status of your work order. Oh, the red one where it says it can't pull out or whatever. Sometimes the red message also lies. If you get the message, take a quick look around to make sure that it didn't spawn in on you, spawn in anyway, because that has happened to me too. Not recently, but I've had the big red X pop up. I pull away, I look around, and the ship is still sitting on a deck. Weird things happen. But yeah, going to a different port and doing a claim, usually 9 times out of 10, that will solve your problem too easy. That's the theory, anyway. I love these refinery decks. I mean, they got a great. It's such a cool environment here. You can go in here. You can pick up your Pembroke suit. I'm pretty sure that's Pembroke. It looks right. Yeah. You can rent various ships here. Mostly your cargo hauling or mining vessels. Grey Cat Rock, Mist Prospector, and for those willing to scrape the bottom of the barrel, the Drake Cutlass Black. Longtime viewers will know that I have certain attitudes towards Drake Interplanetary. Those attitudes will not be changing anytime soon. And I just love these big vats of magma. I keep meaning to just grab one of the Pico plushies and throw it in to see what happens. Drake forever. No, Drake is not forever because it's mostly a conglomeration of scrap heap parts. Still happens to Legend quite a bit with getting the message but no pulls. Okay, I'm going to take a quick second here. Generally don't want to have the frame per second stuff and all that clogging up the screen. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to head over to Yella, where I can reliably get to an asteroid belt, and we'll take a look at some of the space mining aspect. Legend fixed his lawnmower with baling wire yesterday. He identifies with Drake. So we have a Drake Interplanetary lawnmower right there. Oh, what graphics card do I have? You know, I'm pretty sure it's an NVIDIA. I don't recall the exact statistics, except it's not one of the new ones. I don't have that kind of money to throw at a graphics card that I'm not 100% sure won't melt my computer. But my system is an Alienware system, so it's a couple years old now. Maybe we're creeping in. Are we creeping on 3 years already? It can't be 3 years already. I don't think it's 3 years. The Suma 20 series? It may not. It sounds like it could be. I'm not 100% sure. Frame rate is going to be highly dependent on where you happen to be at any given time. Yeah, Legend, for you guys who that play and haven't found it work yet, check out the Eternal Riders, see if it applies. And let me take a quick second here. I will even help out there, because I am a member of the Eternal Riders, and this is our org page and our Discord. So if you have an interest in joining up with a bunch of folks who have interesting outlook on Star Citizen, or really a lot of other games, pop in, say hi. Prospector. They've already stored it, so we'll pull it out. And just like that, if you haven't already made an account for Star Citizen and you're interested in getting a free Dragonfly with custom paint job, please go ahead and use my referral code when you make an account. Once you buy a package, you will get exactly that. Don't lose sleep otherwise, though, because it is a Drake manufactured vehicle, so you can only expect so much out of it. I remain consistent. Who was it makes the Dragonfly again? I think I already alluded to that, didn't I? I will, however, say that right now, as far as the hover bikes go, right now it's the choice between the Drake Dragonfly and the Aopo. I can never pronounce this correctly. Valpoa Nox. And right now, the Dragonfly wins simply by the fact that it can actually stay upright. There are some problems driving the Nox right now. And I'm convinced that's half the reason why the Origin X1 series hasn't come in yet, because they haven't worked out what the heck is wrong with the Nox. Can't use the Nox so hard. Exactly, that's exactly it. It's a mess right now. The thing won't stay upright. And if it doesn't stay upright, it's kind of hard to drive. I mean, I like the design and all, but it's gotta work. It doesn't. The Dragonfly does. So, as much as I hate to say it, the Drake Dragonfly wins. But that will not always be the case, hopefully. Ever have the bug where you leave your seat and get stuck inside it? Yes. Yes, I have. I think that's all that really needs to be said on that one. There are other horrible little bugs. Well, heck, there are lots of horrible little bugs that happen in the game. Let's go yellow. The one that's drove me nuts for the longest time is a bug on the Freelancer. Oh yeah, 2 minutes left on the run. Never had the bug before. Oh, that's a bad time to get the bug. When you have your Quantanium ticking down on you and you're trapped in your chair. Yeah, that's bad. Another one of my favorite bugs that have been a problem over the years has been and Legend will be happy to hear me say this, is the Freelancer bug. Specifically, it's a hatch bug. If you go into the side hatch, the elevator comes down, you climb up it, the door, once you're up the top, the inner door opens up and you should be able to go in there. No problem, right? But sometimes it traps you in the ladder and suddenly you're stuck in between the inner and outer hull with no way out. Yeah, I knew Legend was going to make a comment on that one. But I always do that bug was the main reason why I primarily would go into the back of the Freelancer and not the side. Because the side hatch, it wanted to kill me. It was out to get me. Now, that bug doesn't happen nearly as much anymore, but not as much is not the same as never. So, when in doubt, use the back. Now that said, sometimes it doesn't work out because if you're doing a cargo delivery somewhere and you happen to be on a moon and you find that your back ramp isn't quite aligned right, so there's no way you can jump into it, the side hatch is your only alternative. So, beware. Now, the nice thing about being in the Prospector is it's big enough that you can hop on out of your seat when it's working in the middle of quantum travel and, head to the back. You've got access to your toilet. One day, apparently, it will be functional. Don't ask. My mind does not want to even go in that direction as to figure out what kind of mechanics are involved with this. Just no. But if you want to do a bed log, you've got your bed here. Doesn't have too much else in the way of amenities. I don't think there's any weapon racks, no spacesuit racks, which I find a little bit more of a question mark, because the intent is for you to pilot your ship while not wearing. Well, I guess they're assuming that you wouldn't wear your armor; you're just wearing your undersuit. I guess you could sleep in your undersuit comfortably, but why? And I think that's part of what the whole gold standard thing is going to be all about. To try to account for all this stuff. Well, here we go. We have a spot here that says storage. But you'll notice that I can't actually access this storage. I can't interact with it. I can't do anything with it. But I would imagine that this would be where you would store your spacesuit or your undersuit or what have you, and be able to be in your clothing. Saber just became gold standard. Favorite ship. I like the Saber. I've got a Saber. It's a very... I do regret that its stealth capabilities aren't quite where I'd like them to be. I mean, 9 times out of 10, you're detected before you can even start shooting them. Even if you have top-line stealth parts. But I do believe that it will get there. I like its armament. It's a 4 cannons, relatively close proximity. Honestly, I feel the Saber is an excellent ship to use. You have to turn off your guns and stuff and make it hard. Yeah, that part gets a little challenging, because like, oh gee, if my guns are off, then I have to be pretty last minute as far as getting them up and running to shoot people with, especially with the capacitor gameplay now, because if you have the weapons off, they're not going to have power. I don't think they're going to have power going to the guns. I could be wrong, because I haven't experimented with that. Although, I am flying a Prospector that is currently armed with neutrons. This feels like a good time to find out. Will I lose the capacitor energy if I turn off the guns? Once I drop out of quantum very shortly, let's find out. I love mad science. And of course, we're conveniently at the newly redesigned gas giant of Crusader. Didn't always look like this. Of course, you couldn't fly down to Cloud City either back in time. Currently, the best stealth fighter is the Talon. I can't really speak to that since I haven't really flown the Talon all that much. Let me turn off my quantum drive for a minute and turn off the weapons. Yep, there we go. Power off, and you can see the neutrons on the right-hand side and the capacitors completely red. I'm going to turn power back on, and they got to recharge. You have the Talon as well. Too easy. Never was a good PvP fighter, unfortunately. Hey, I get that. I am the first to admit that when you look at the ladder of rankings on the PvP players, I tend to be somewhere underneath the ground upon which the ladder sits. I do not make any illusion of being an ace PvPer. I mean, I can man a turret and shoot people down in that, but that's not the same thing. One-on-one fighter, I'm not that great. I'm pretty respectable for PvE, but I have no illusions on my PvP skills. Personally, my favorite flight fighter is going to be the Arrow, because I just like the design, I like the armament. I'm just a big fan of the way they put that together. But I also like the Saber for what it is. When I'm doing VHRTs, the very high-risk targets, 9 times out of 10, I will use the Saber. Okay, what I'm going to do is... I don't want to go to Grim Hex, because that's just asking for trouble. Oh, this Kilocron drive. We'll just go full speed ahead. I'm going to move my capacitor to my engines and burn that boost like crazy. Yeah, trying to do mining near Grim Hex, that is not a thing I recommend. Let's think for a moment. Is it really a good idea to be mining in a relatively defenseless prospector around the center of the hive of scum and villainy in the Stanton system? Does that sound like a particularly smart move to make? I think not. Okay, so let's kick off some pings and see if we can detect anything. Oh, I've detected something behind me. That figures. Well, you know what? Let's start behind. Oh, and stuff ahead. Whoa, stop. What just happened here? I'm getting hits on tiny, microscopic, and oh yeah, my engine speed is going a little too fast. That's a problem too. Yeah, yellow has good rocks though. Yeah, sometimes it does, sometimes not so much, but at the moment it is going to be a lot easier for me to find the rocks here at yellow than it is at the halo, because I'm not 100% certain I would actually arrive at the halo. You know, it says there's rocks ahead of me, but, you know, I'm not actually seeing them. And I'm hoping to God it doesn't mean that I'm going to slam into them at high velocity, because... No, they're there. There's very, very tiny rocks. So I'm going to go into my scan mode, and we're going to see if there's any material on them that's actually worth anything. And I'm going to rotate my ship so I can actually read what it's telling me. Okay, diamond, forays, and corundum. Diamond ain't bad, but I don't know if it's great. What's this other one? More diamond. So we got diamond, and we got diamond. Let's go to mining mode. 5% diamond on the one on the right. Yeah, that sucks. On the left. Come on, man, work with me here, scanner. Scanning is not really cooperating today, is it? Oh, well, it flickered, but 2% diamond. Mostly inert materials. Borace is worth as much as the laranite. Yeah, but there's only like 1.5% on that one. And this one, well, this is 3%. Well, you know what? I'll do it if for no other reason than the fact that, you know, to demonstrate the whole asteroid mining aspect of things. Again, note the effective range. It's sufficient. As I get closer, it gets more and more filled until we get to optimal. Kick on the laser. Very wide optimal range. That's helpful. This is a 4,900 mass asteroid, which is a bad sign, because the last time I had an asteroid of that kind of mass, yeah, don't know if it's worth it. Yeah, I don't know if it's worth it either. But you know, I am a very impatient soul, which is half the reason why I don't do very good with mining half the time. It's slow going, but I don't have as far to go to get to my optimal charge. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Aren't they adding a medium mining ship soon? That would be news to me. Now, granted, I don't have any inside tips or anything like that. But the next mining ship that I know of that's being worked on is the Orion. And The Orion is pretty much the opposite of medium. I would not be horribly surprised, though, if Drake didn't come out with one somewhere along the line, because that feels like the sort of thing they might consider. Then again, Drake tends to cater towards militias, and mining is not something you associate with militia use. Yeah, maybe that's what you're thinking. Don't know why you thought medium. Yeah, the last I looked, the Orion is going to be under the is on the roadmap for artwork. They don't have anything under the vehicle experience part yet, but you know, who knows? Maybe we could see something at the end of next year. It could happen. Of course, I've been known to be wrong too, so don't take my guesstimates with any without huge grains of salt. I mean, I predicted that 3.14 would be landing in mid-July. I blew that one horribly, so. They might add Drake mining ships for pirates and flamethrowers. I could believe that. I mean, we know that Drake would never cater towards the pirates, would they? Yeah, for those who are unfamiliar, Drake interplanetary ships do tend to show up in the hands of pirates an awful lot in the setting. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. See, this is why they never get invited to Invictus. Of course, Drake being Drake, they just have their own convention instead. 0.52 arrays, oh, that's horrible. Don't seem to have, there we go. Ugh, that's as bad, even worse. Scanners are really tricky to aim lately. 5% forays. I think that tells us everything. Nah, we're opportunistic entrepreneurs. Oh, is that how you justify yourself? Legend being the Drake spokesman today. Yeah, as predicted, this asteroid is basically garbage. Now, this style of mining, I feel compelled to mention. Ever noticed Twitch has a spell check but doesn't give you a correct? You spelled it wrong, but we're not going to tell you how to do it correctly. Well, you know, this is why we went to grade school. But if you're mining Quantanium, this is kind of how you would do it. You would break these things up until you got the purple outlines, which means you could extract them. But then you start working on the other guys all around, the ones that are orange outlined, until everything you want is in their purpley state. And then when you're ready to start the clock running, start that timer going, that's when you hoover them all in and book it like crazy to the nearest refinery. Pray that they don't explode. Okay, mining mode off. Ping.
Mining mode off.
We're going to try to go deeper into the ring and see if we can find something that's actually worth putting in the cargo hold. I'm not expecting much because, well, I don't have the patience to go through the rocks and find the Quantanium rocks or find the perfect size, the perfect proportions of laranite or borates or the higher end ores. I'm more along the lines of, oh, come on, man, I gotta fill these cargo pods with something. Which is why I tend to spend more time doing cargo deliveries or bounty hunts. Okay, hold on. We seem to have a couple prospects here. A couple prospects for my Prospector. We'll kick on mining mode right now and save myself the scanner, because the scanner has been giving me all those wonderful 1000% numbers for my rocks, and I'd prefer something a little, you know, closer to reality. Okay, P-type asteroid. Aluminum and inert materials. Yeah, that's a winner, all right. That's probably the next one on the list. Titanium, corundum, aluminum. Well, at least it has titanium. It's not great, but you know, it's something. What about the guy over here? Gotta get a little closer, don't I? And it doesn't help that their scan can't pointing to scan at them is just not cooperating. Diamond. Well, I can tolerate diamond. I think titanium might be better, but there's a chart that I have to look at to figure out what's the better ore, and I honestly can't remember off the top of my head. Which ought to tell you how often I've done the mining lately. Oh, heck with that one. Okay, so it's either going to be diamond or titanium. Or, as a popular meme might tell you, why not both? So let's go in and carve this rock up. Don't get too close. Where is my... There we go. I was getting a little concerned when I wasn't seeing the optimum and overcharge sections on my heads-up display. Oh, you're doing so well. You got yourself up that high quickly, then you just don't want to go to optimal. Burn, baby, burn. Optimal is on deck at almost any moment now. There we go. And we have a nice wide optimal window there. Playing after my stream is done? Very likely, Legend. My fun doesn't stop just because the stream does. I just reached the point where I realized that people are probably tired of hearing my voice. Rock splits. Back up a little bit so they don't, you know, do something horrible like collide into my ship. And let's see if I can find the one with all the titanium. That's 32% titanium. %. Ah, 5 stripe. Okay, there we go. 20%. The nice thing about doing this in space is that you don't have to worry about them sitting on the ground and causing problems. 34%. So I got 30-some% and got a couple in the 30 percentile range. That's worth going after. So a lot's going to depend on how well the split goes when I run the mining laser on these smaller chunks. We'll start with this one.
Extraction mode on. Fracturing mode on.
Hello, scan. Scan properly, please. There we go. Let's see if I can get a good percentage on that. Gonna start an SE stream about 10-15 minutes. Okay, Legend. I will keep that in mind so that we can send everybody your way in a not horribly distant future. Doing a good job on getting this one cut open. Hopefully it'll split, and hopefully all that titanium will be in one chunk. And maybe a 100% pure chunk of quantanium will suddenly land in my cargo pods. The odds are about the same. Alright, let's see how these guys have split up. If we're really, really lucky, they'll have gone with all the bad stuff in one chunk and all the good stuff on another. And so far, it seems to be going exactly that way. 100% titanium. Oh, I like that number. Let's see if I get some more that look like that. That one stinks. How about this one? 60% titanium, 32% inert. I tell you what, I want to hold off on that one. "100% titanium." That one I like. Again, inert materials, avoid when you can. Now, sometimes you won't be able to. Sometimes you'll find something that's really, really good attached to a whole bunch of inert material. And sometimes you gotta make the choice as to how much you value that valuable material. I seem to be bouncing between asteroids there. Aluminum. I am really unhappy with the scanning, the mining laser scanners right now, because they seem to be incredibly inconsistent. Of course, they also seem to be having trouble working.
Fracturing mode on.
Okay, that seems to have kicked something into place. It does feel like we might have some problems with the scanners that qualify as being a bug that should probably get fixed somewhere along the line. Okay, this has 32% titanium, so let's crack this sucker open.
Fracturing mode on.
Titanium may not be my first choice, but you know, I've already mentioned my patience level with mining. Give me a bit. It's going to finish a group bounty and server hop before he starts. Perfectly reasonable. I'm going to crack this sucker open pretty quickly. And with any luck, we should have some extractable chunks. Oh, if this one were 100%. No, that's inert material. We don't want inert material. Inert? Bad. 100% titanium? Good. We are doing great with titanium so far today. 10 SCU of titanium, and nothing but titanium. 48%, 47%. Well, let's check out the other one first. I'm not gonna go with that one either. Can I get a scan on these other guys again? That was aluminum. Hate the aluminum. And 60%. Well, you know, all good things must end. Let's grab the titanium from that one. And let's head back down here. What was our titanium number on this guy? It's not going to give me a titanium number on that guy. Okay, well, we'll just have to call that a bug and leave it at that. A bug in Star Citizen? Who would have thunk it? We'll take a look at this asteroid chunk. What was your proportions? Let's do a little bit of a spin here so the sun isn't blinding me. That one's not so good. %. Not in love with that one either. Yeah, I think it's time that we look over to the other rock. If I can figure out where it is again. Wasn't that one diamond? No, that one was the bad one. I want the less bad one. I want the one with the diamond in it. I think I just did a 360. Okay, this is the diamond one. We'll crack this one open, load up on it, and then we'll head to the refinery. It ain't a bad load. I mean, the vast majority of material in my cargo pods is titanium ore. If I can get something similar with this diamond, I would call that a big win. Jeez, just found a 25% Bexlite rock. Mine it like crazy, Too Easy. Mine it like crazy. That feels like a nice profit waiting for you. Especially if it breaks off into good chunks. Hopefully the rock will be of a mass that you can crack open. Sometimes that occasionally turns out to be an issue. Okay, we are high in the optimal range. I'm going to cut down my intensity just a tad. Like, a lot, since I'm getting way too close to that overcharge. Man, I love it when these things break nicely and neatly. But let's see how neatly. Come on, lots of diamond. No diamond on that one. Come on, lots of diamond on this one. %68 diamond. Yeah, that's a breakable one. Ah, there we go. Sensitive scanners. Luckily, optimal is nice, wide, and easy to get to. Drop my intensity so I don't go to that overcharge very quickly. Always gotta pay attention to the laser intensity there. If it's too high, go to the overcharge quickly, and horrible things will happen. And if you're not careful, those horrible things will happen to you, and not to the asteroid. It'll happen to the asteroid too, but at that point, you're more interested in self-preservation. Alright. Come on, diamond. Diamond, diamond, diamond. 80% diamond. I can live with that. Okay, next chunk. Come on, diamond. More diamond. Give me 100% diamond. Better yet, stop breaking off my scans. 32%, 34% diamond. Well, you know what? It has no inert material, so unless this one has a really good improvement, I'll grab that one too. This one has a much bigger improvement. This one goes first. Ah, you had surge modules to break it. Very good. Yeah, that's one of the things I haven't really monkeyed with. Consumables that give improvements to your laser in various aspects. And that's something I haven't really covered here today because, well, I never really actually used them. They would come in handy. Certainly they would have come in handy on that big rock I found on a little whiles back at Ariel that wouldn't crack no matter how hard I tried. Because a module could have fixed that. But I didn't have the module, so that's the kind of thing you gotta expect. Okay, what do we have on this chunk of rock? Give me more diamond. No diamond on that one. No love from you. How about this one? Aluminum. I have a sneaky feeling I may have grabbed all the diamond I'm going to get. Well, how about this guy? Oh, how about that? Leave it to that rock to prove me wrong. Let's scan the last one here, too, so I have an idea what to expect. Technically, that one has diamond, but that's in such a small number that I'm not even going to bother wasting energy on it. So it looks like we have one more rock for diamond, and then we will head to the refinery and slap an order in for this guy. However, we will not be using the same refinery that we went to for my other ones. What mining head? Yes, I'm using a Lancet right now. It has it correct. I also have a Helix available to me, but I wanted to monkey with the Lancet today because, well, I've heard fairly reliably that it is the king of mining lasers these days. So I decided to make it prove it. Let's use 2 surges and an optimum. That would do it. Especially with the surges, if it's a really huge rock. Well, Legend's obviously done more mining than I have, because I've never even heard of a Focus 3. Alright, let's see which of these guys has lots of diamond associated. Give me diamond. 81% diamond? I'll take it. Come on, we can do better, can't we? Show me 100%. 70%? Keep you in the radar. Let's look at the other ones first. Maybe I can do better. %, diamond. 80% I like. Oh, but I have filled up my cargo capacity, which is always a hazard when you're flying a ship like the Prospector, because it is a one-man vessel, which means it has a limited amount of cargo supply. Occupational hazard. I am currently at Crusader, so I'm going to go to Crew L1 to fit all my mining needs. Now, would this be the most profitable run in the world? Nah. But, you know, if you're looking for quick and dirty, it didn't do too badly. Especially if you're willing to take the time to let the refinery do its job and at low cost and high yield. Yeah, we'll have one more shill from my Streamlabs bot, if you are watching, if you like what you've seen or are intrigued by what you've seen, you want to play the game, you want to try the free flight stuff with the 6 ships made available, go ahead and click that link to use my referral code. Go to the free flight page and use the code there to unlock those ships and have yourselves a ball. I do add the warning, be sure that your specs can handle Star Citizen. These things are important. But as computers get more and more advanced every day, I suspect a day will come where your midline computers will have no trouble running Star Citizen. We're not there yet, but soon. About to start my screen, about to drop so audio doesn't bleed over. Good idea. Trying to get into my server, send a message in the writer's channel when you get in. Thanks, Legend. Once we drop this off, I think we'll be at a good stopping point here. And then we'll swap over to Legend's stream, who will undoubtedly show a very different play style than mining. Or so I presume. Why is my ship not calibrating? I'm pointed right at them. Yeah, Quantum Drive might have a few bugs in this patch too. There we go. I just had to really, really make this thing go crazy in order to do the calibration. I am not in love with the fact that the Quantum shuts itself on and off at random. And that does feel like a bug itself. These are the things that can happen. I think I'll also take the opportunity to rebalance my power triangle. I don't need all engine capacitors anymore. Just for the giggles, let's see if I can get my comm and my... Ooh, how about that? My MFD comm is actually working. How did that happen? Entering the Armistice Zone. That means I should be able to open communications momentarily. And now I can't scroll up and down on that anymore. It's fate teaching me a lesson about giving a compliment to my MFDs. Thank God for Mobiglass. And my assigned landing bay is naturally on the other side of the station. And unless I'm looking at things very badly, I'm flying upside down. Kick on my VTOLs, drop my landing gear, drop my speed.
Landing gear down.
Yeah, you know what? I might have hit the VTOLs a little early. Fly right past where I'm supposed to land. Yeah, the Prospector is not what you would call the most agile starship in the galaxy. Now I'll kick on the VTOLs. Got the auto land working. A little late, but you know, better late than never.
Landing successful.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
Now, here's a wonderful tip for folks who are new to the game. If you're landing on a landing pad, always power off your engines, but don't turn off the ship power. There are enough people out there who get their jollies out of blowing up ships on landing pads that you want to make it as difficult for them as possible. Leave the power on so that your shields are still on. Now, if you leave the engines running, you might run into problems because, at least in the past, the air traffic control folk, they don't like it when you leave your engines on when they store the ship. They will fine you. They'll say it's a parking violation. And when they tell you it's a parking violation, they don't explain what exactly consists of a parking violation. I'm here to tell you, it is probably because you left your engines on. It may also be with any ramp that you have lowered as well, so close up any ramps you have too. This has been a public service announcement. Now, I'm not entirely sure how far we are from the ASOP terminals where you can retrieve your starships. But apparently it's further away than I would have hoped. Oh, here we go, we're nearing the end. Alright, we'll head over to the internal elevators. And we will go to the refinery deck here. Now, I would like to say that when you go to a station, each refinery deck is unique, but I would be lying. If you've seen one refinery deck, you have very literally seen them all. I haven't noticed any difference in layout. It's the same sort of thing with cargo decks too, but nobody goes to cargo decks yet because they actually have no purpose in the game at this time. This will not always be the case, but for now it is. And since we are playing in the now, yep, it's that same layout. You go over here, you see the big vats, gassy materials, go up the stairs, and the refining center. Now that said, the refineries are not interconnected. So if you have an order at one refinery, you cannot access it at a different refinery. And we're going to refine, again, we're going to refine everything because why not? And again, I'm going to kick off with the, no, not that one. Low speed, low cost, high yield. Because that's how I roll. And this will take about 23 hours, most of the day. Pretty much the entire day. That's okay. I'll still have a good chunk of my diamond and titanium to work with, and that's what I want. Another good rock. 25% agresium and 15% laranite in the same rock. That is a great rock. That is a great rock. And the refining begins here as well. And just for giggles, we're going to go down the ladder. Oops, went down a little too hard. And I think that is going to do it. We are past the we are at the 3:30 mark, so we spent a good chunk of the day here, or at least a good chunk of the stream. There we go again. I certainly hope everyone's enjoyed watching. This was a stream where we got to monkey with one of the 6 quote-unquote iconic ships of Star Citizen. The Misk Prospector, where we did some mining, checked out some of the scanning capabilities, and seen a couple of the bugs. Oh yeah, we saw bugs. And in that way we got to see a little bit more of the 3.14 patch. I will be streaming again next Saturday at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern to approximately 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern, although as you have seen today, I've been known to go over. I also do a stream on Wednesday night for the game Star Trek Online. So if you enjoy Star Trek and are interested in seeing the game, feel free to stop in and say hello. I hope everyone has enjoyed seeing this stream, whether you are doing this live or doing this on video on demand, either here or on YouTube. Either way, glad to have you watching. I'm going to pop the raid now over to Legends channel. Let's see if I can make this work. No, that's not it. That's it. I knew if I fiddled with, I always have trouble remembering if it's a exclamation point or a slash for the commands. I make no apologies. Everyone, again, thank you all very much for watching. This is Korath Landwalker, signing off.